Alright, hello and welcome back. I very much would have liked to have recorded more, but couldn't get much done during the week, especially because people had to come and deal with our air conditioning, but they never said when they were going to do it. So they did say they were going to be coming Monday. They didn't. Uh, then they showed up on Wednesday and didn't say they were. So that's very annoying. And then they were here almost the entire day, so I couldn't do anything, and I have no idea where I'm going. So let's just go. Let's just go somewhere. Oh, it's a cutscene. Hey, it's a one-armed dragon.
Bad dreams, huh? Well, it is real, sort of. You see, part of being a Grey Warden is being able to hear the Darkspawn. That's what your dream was, hearing them. The Archdemon, it talks to the Horde, and we feel it just as they do. That's why we know this is really a blight.
The dragon, I
I don't
assume.
know if it's really a dragon, but it sure looks like one. But yes, that's the Archdemon. It takes a bit, but eventually you can block the dreams out. Some of the older Grey Wardens say they can understand the Archdemon a bit, but I sure can't. Anyhow, when I heard you thrashing around, I thought I should tell you. It was scary at first for me too.
Not that scary. That's a good one.
Other than dying young and the whole defeat the Blight alone thing,
I
yeah.
like how Sten's just standing in the background like,
Anyhow,
I don't
you're up
care.
now, right?
I'm listening, but I don't care.
Get a move on.
Oh, and Liliana's right there too. Hey, it was the boy. Hey, it's the people I was with just before.
Good to see you, my timely rescuer. Bodon Fennick at your service.
I think he's in the
Saw
in
your
Dragon
welcome
Age
to
2.
the kind offer that you made the last time we met. And is there anywhere safer for a poor merchant and his son to sleep? I think not. I'm perfectly willing to offer you a fine discount for the inconvenience of our presence. How does that sound? Good? Yes?
Yes, I shall sell all the random shit to you.
Wonderful. Thank the gentleman, won't you, boy?
Thank you, sir.
We won't be a bother to you and your companions, I assure you. If you should need enchantments, simply talk to my boy. Otherwise, come speak with me. If there's anything I can do for you, please tell me.
Let me see what you
I'm
got.
sure you'll be pleased with the goods my boy and I have collected, and with your discount.
Well, let's start with weapons. I'm gonna keep the great sword just in case. You never know. That can go. I think that's a thing you put in enchantments. No one can use that yet. Don't have any other. I never really use these things. I'm just gonna sell them. I never use them. And there's no point in putting them on a... I might keep that and just keep them for myself. Like, the weapon applications are more useful to me, I think. Or does it actually... No, it requires poison making to actually use them, so nope. I'm getting rid of them. Because if they require poison making, I'm not going to bother. And I can't use them, so screw it. Lightning rune, gifts, tons of ingredients. Okay, you got some powerful shit right here. Some main hand war axe. That seems pretty good. If only there was a hat I liked. proving helm. Wait, how did you get this? I assume that's the helmet I could have won. Well, I did win without giving away, but why do you have it? That's weird. Why do you have it? It's very strange. Very strange. Mobari collar. That could be good, but I don't have the money. Maybe I should just take the proving helmet. You know? Wow, that's a big one. And then these are basic. Increase money gain. I did have that before I lost it. I should probably get it again. I don't have a belt. And in the long run, if I take it now, it'll probably be more useful. Willpower and con. I mean, it sounds useful, but... if anything, I could probably do with more injury kits, so...
Anything I can do.
More injury kits would be useful if you've got any. Ooh, they actually cost quite a penny. I have 3 of them. No. Right, let's go with this rumor persuasion.
Well, if you're really interested, I suppose it wouldn't hurt to tell you. I'm originally from Orzammar, just as you are, I suspect. You don't have the look of a surface dwarf about you. I was a merchant there, too. Merchant caste. These things are in the blood, you know. You can't just leave them behind. I ran a fairly successful business. Rare artifacts, you know. Old things, grand things. The nobles loved. Reminded them of the lost glory days, I suppose.
But...
So, as I said, things were going well. But good things must come to an end. One day, a noble woman came to my store. She looked around for a bit and then started shrieking in dismay. Apparently, she believed that a pair of braces I had for sale once belonged to her brother. He'd been lost in a cave-in, you see, while on an expedition to clear out the Darkspawn from one of the tunnels running close to the city. They were made specially for him. They're unique, she shrieked. He stole them from my poor brother's corpse. She had me arrested on the spot, of course. Nobles, they're touchy like that.
well, I can understand why she was upset.
Well, I didn't steal them. You see, I'd been paying these castless thugs to venture out into the deep roads for the lost ties. They're full of things that people left behind. Sometimes you can find a treasure. Something worth a little gold.
And that's where things got better. And leave them to rot. Yeah, pretty much.
Exactly how I see it. The noblewoman, she wasn't too happy with the theft of her brother's braces. I don't know what they planned for me. I didn't want to find out. Bribed the guard that was watching me and took off for the surface first opportunity I got. Never looked back.
Got lucky, I'd say. Yeah.
I thank the stone every single day. Now, is there anything the boy or I can get you?
Any rumors?
Look, we don't rob people, all right? We don't take the things in the lost ties. What good did they do lying there?
Why, yeah, I'm
Not
asking
all
that.
different up here. There are places long abandoned by the humans everywhere. Even more now with the Darkspawn coming.
How bad?
People flee from the Blight with good reason, but they forget things. Things with value and meaning. And sometimes, my boy and I, we find our way to these places. Is that so bad?
No, that's fine.
Destroy everything they touch.
No, it's like,
That's what I tell
they fuck
myself.
everything up.
Ah, these are dark times.
I mean, fair game.
Times, my friend.
Darkspawn gonna fuck it up, why leave it behind? Yes, didn't mention his son at all.
I'm married to a fine woman back in Denerim, it's true. She give me a son if she could, but that's not likely to ever be. Sandal here, I found him in the deep roads years ago. Abandoned, I think, and he was never quite right in the head. I took him in, and I brought him with me when I came here to the surface. He may not be my blood, true, but I think of him as one.
We left Orzammar.
That's right, boy. Maybe one day we'll...
Doesn't he have like a lyrium in his blood or something? Or is that all dwarves? I don't remember. I remember there's something special about the boy. Like he's like an actual dwarven mage or some bullshit. I don't remember. But I remember there's something there.
That's how I've always felt. As long as he's happy, so am I. It's not as if I don't benefit, mind you. Turns out the boy's a natural working with enchantments. He might have even been lyrium-addled. I never thought of that before, to be honest. Happens sometimes. He can work an enchantment into just about anything, however, given some time. Could probably open his own shop, if he knew how.
Enchantment.
Well, he does seem to enjoy it, at least.
Well, let's talk about
Some
rumors.
folks aren't happy about Tyrn Loghain being named regent. There are rumors he had something to do with the king's death.
Ah, those poor
Isn't that
broken
the most
hands.
ridiculous thing you ever heard? The Darkspawn killed him, sure enough. If Tyrn Loghain couldn't save the king from that end, then nobody could.
Well, if
That's
he'd
what I've
actually
heard
charged
all
into
over.
battle,
Take
the
it
battle
from me.
could have been won.
There's not just Darkspawn in the Horde, you know that? There are people with him. Folks who are sick with the blight, and their minds are all twisted and mad.
Well,
I
damn.
heard tell of a man meeting his own brother on the field, yet when he called out to him, his brother didn't even recognize him and just attacked.
Poor
That's what
hands,
I
all
heard on the
broken
road.
and twisted.
Take it for what it is.
Well, let's just leave it at that.
Hello.
The boy's a bit simple, but he's rather good with enchantments. One of those tranquil fellas actually called him a... what was it now? A savant. I had no idea such a thing existed. He can fold lyrium into almost any weapon or piece of armor, though naturally some of the more extravagant materials will take more lyrium than others. It's a process that some of the master smiths back in Orzammar will perform, but my boy here is just as adept at it. Isn't that right, boy?
Enchantment.
And there you have it.
Well,
Enchantment.
let's see the process. Oh. Am I... Yeah, it's putting the runes in the slots, as I thought. Who are you and why are you here?
You're a hard man to find.
Am I?
Manners. The name is Levy. Levy Dryden. Did Duncan ever mention me? Levy of the coins? Levy the trader?
Well, I didn't get to know Duncan that long.
Really? He never told you of old Levy? We've known each other for years. But here I am carrying on while you have a blight to stop. Don't want to waste your time. But you see, Duncan promised that together we'd look into something important for the Wardens. And for me. But poor Duncan's... well, no more. A tragedy it is, at that. But I know he would want his work carried on. His pledge fulfilled.
Well, what did he even want?
My family, well, past a bit checkered to see. Nobles look at us with disdain. My great-great-grandmother, Sophia Dryden, was the last Warden commander of Ferelden back when the Wardens were known as freeloaders. So King Arlen banished the Wardens, and he took House Dryden's land and titles.
Well, damn.
And then some. Not much is known about that time. After King Arlen died, there was a civil war, loads worse than this one. And our family was on the run, hunted by enemies, with nary a friend in the world. But Drydens are tough. We rebuilt, became merchants, and we never lost our pride. Ask for the truth. My family reveres Sophia Dryden. We know she died at the old Grey Warden base, Soldier's Peak. We want evidence to clear her name. It won't restore our land or our titles, but it'll restore our honor.
I mean, that sounds easy enough.
Well, no one's been to Soldier's Peak since Arlen's days. At least none that's come back. I spent years mapping the maze of tunnels to the peak, and I found the way a few years back. So I went to Duncan, I did. and I said that he could reclaim the old base and my family could have its honour.
Ooh, this sounds like DLC actually.
Soldiers Peak is strategic and symbolic importance. Duncan said that it would be worth it right there. He also hoped to recover lost Warden history and perhaps a few old relics. No one knows what's up there now.
Well, it sounds like a good idea.
1,000 blessings upon you, Warden. I'll mark down the location on your map. When you arrive, we'll pick our way through the tunnels together.
Alright. I'm probably never going to talk to Sten. I have no desire or reason to, and what are you barking about?
Oh, why, you little... Your furry friend here took offense at me getting near his food. He snapped at me, look.
Don't be such a baby, it's his food. Well?
Don't you think I don't know it? Sometimes I forget that he's a war dog. That'll teach me. I once heard a really old...
Yeah, how many of these are there?
Hound warriors in the days of the old tribes would feed their Mabari the flesh of the vanquished. Well, that's what I heard anyway. It would sometimes be human flesh. Oh, like you can tell the difference. For all you know, maybe you've already been fed something. Someone.
Come on, stop teasing the boy.
It's not cannibalism if he's eating it, you know.
Close enough. Alright, well, let's leave that and go talk to Liliana. This is just going to be an episode called Making Camp, I think.
Well, here I am.
Yeah, well, that doesn't help in terms of questioning.
I knew this would come up sooner or later. I don't know how to explain, but I had a dream. In it, there was an impenetrable darkness. It was so dense, so real. And there was a noise, a terrible, ungodly noise. I stood on a peak and watched as the darkness consumed everything. And when the storm swallowed the last of the sun's light, I fell, and the darkness drew me in. I suppose I did. That was what the darkness was, no? When I woke, I went to the Chantry's gardens, as I always do. But that day, the rose bush in the corner had flowered. Everyone knew that bush was dead. It was grey and twisted and gnarled, the ugliest thing you ever saw. But there it was, a single beautiful rose. It was as though the Maker stretched out his hand to say, even in the midst of this darkness, there is hope and beauty. Have faith. In my dream, I fell, or maybe I jumped. I'd do anything to stop the Blight. I know that we can do it. There are so many good things in the Maker's world. How can I sit by while the Blight devours everything? That is why you're a Grey Warden. Come, there's a Blight to stop.
Alright. Might as well talk to
What do
Alistair
you need?
too. Hey, wait a minute, where's Morgan?
Ask away. Did I say that? I meant that dogs raised me. Giant slobbering dogs from the Anderfells. A whole pack of them, in fact.
Okay.
Well, if you're going to go and pay attention to the facts, then fine. Let's see, how do I explain this? I'm a bastard. And before you make any smart comments, I mean the fatherless kind. My mother was a serving girl in Redcliffe Castle who died when I was very young. Arleman wasn't my father, but he took me in anyhow. He put a roof over my head. He was good to me, and he didn't have to be. I respect the man, and I don't blame him anymore for sending me off to the Chantry once I was old enough.
Yeah, well, why did he send you there?
Arleman eventually married a young woman from Orlais. which caused all sorts of problems between him and the king because it was so soon after the war. But he loved her. Anyhow, the new Arlessa resented the rumors which pegged me as his bastard. They weren't true, but of course they existed. The Arl didn't care, but she did. So off I was packed to the nearest monastery at age 10. Just as well. The Arlessa made sure the castle wasn't a home to me by that point. She despised me.
Well, that sucks.
I suppose you're right. I wasn't raised as the Arl's son, though, if you're picturing that. I slept in hay, out in the stables, not on silk sheets. I remember I had an amulet with Andraste's holy symbol on it. The only thing I had of my mother's. I was so furious at being sent away, I tore it off and threw it at the wall and it shattered. Stupid, stupid thing to do. The Arl came by the monastery a few times to see how I was, but I was stubborn. I hated it there, and blamed him for everything. And eventually, he just stopped coming. And raised my dogs. Or I may as well have been, the way I acted. But maybe all young bastards act like that. I don't know. All I know is that the Arl is a good man, and well loved by the people. He also was King Kaelin's uncle, so he has a personal motivation to see Loghain pay for what he did. Anyway, that's really all there is to the story.
Oh, Liliana and Alistair got points. How nice.
What do you need? Ask away.
Yeah,
Have you seen
how'd that
my
happen?
uniform? It's not only stylish, but well made. I'm a sucker.
Well, I mean, everything but the head looks kind of good.
That's just in public. In private, we have these yellow and purple tunics, right? Much more comfortable, and you don't break the beds when you jump on them during a pillow fight.
Right.
You don't really want to know about my being a Templar, do you? It's really quite boring.
I'm curious.
Let's just get back to what we were doing.
I should have done the other one. Yeah, that was... Fuck.
What do you need? Ask away.
I fucked that up, didn't I? What's his thing at? It's +4. It needs to get much higher. Fuck. I really fucked that one up, didn't I? I'm gonna start quick saving when I talk to people. Well, that's a lot of large potions, I think.
If you must. Well, that depends, does it not? What does she seem to be? Oh, she is certainly old. Have no mistake of that. Tell me, how much do you know of the tale? The one that the chastened still tell of my mother, to frighten them into obedience.
Didn't even know.
Ah, I see. That does explain much. I can relay what Flemeth once told me herself, and you can decide whether or not 'tis the truth, if you desire.
Alright.
As the tale is sung by the bards, there was a time when Flemeth was young and beautiful. A fair lass in a land of barbarian men, the desire of any who saw her. Many centuries before this land was even named Ferelden. The tales say that Flemeth fell in love with Osen the Bard, and fled the castle of her husband, the Dreadlord Conobar, and that he swore vengeance for her infidelity. In truth, my mother claims that 'twas Osen who was her husband, and Conobar the jealous lord, who looked on from afar. Lord Conobar approached young Osen and offered him wealth and power in exchange for his lovely wife, and Osen agreed.
Wow, that would have fucked them both.
The life of a bard is a poor one, and love fades in the wake of hunger. 'Twas Flemeth who suggested the arrangement.
Damn.
All would have been well had Lord Conobar kept his end of the bargain. But he was a foul man who bargained with coin he did not possess. Osen was led off to a field and slain, left for dead. Flemeth spoke to the spirits and learned of the deed, and swore revenge. That was not the point. Conobar had no honor, so she would not have him. Flemeth begged the spirits to aid her, and 'twas they who slew Conobar. The demon the legend tells of came later. Lord Conobar's allies chased Flemeth, you see. Chased her to the wilds, and there she hid. There she found the demon, and he made her strong. The legends all speak of the great hero Cormac, he who defeated Flemeth and her great army when she invaded the lowlands centuries later. All lies. The truth of the matter is that there was never an invasion. As Flemeth tells it, the Chastened never raised an army under her banner, and she never fought with any warrior named Cormac. Cormac led a brutal civil war against his own people, and later claimed it was to vanquish evil that had taken root amongst the lords. Thus, he was hailed a hero. Flemeth was only attached to the legend much later. Perhaps 'twas due to the great war with the Chastened that eventually came, but Mother claims not to know how it began.
Alright.
The demon within her has transformed her into something else. An abomination, perhaps some would say. I know not. I only know my mother is clever. Part of the wilds as it is part of her. But she is no immortal. She bleeds. A blade in her heart would kill her like any other, were it lucky enough to find her. You ask if I have sisters. I have asked of this myself. The stories tell of many witches of the wilds after all, not just the one. And these tales existed long before I did. Flemeth refuses to speak of other daughters, if they existed. So, should I believe I am her first? I doubt that too.
Well, I mean, if she's as old as said.
The Chastened tell of a falling out between Flemeth and her daughters. They say that one day she hunted them all through the wilds and ate their hearts. It may be true. I have never seen another witch or heard of one. Perhaps one day Flemeth will eat my heart as well.
Who knows?
How often is this usually? Always? If not always, then when is it not true? There are more things in this world and the next than you or I could ever hope to understand. What Flemeth believes is a mystery. I suspect even to her. I do not believe everything that Flemeth claims. Oft it seems her bitterness has colored her memories. But on the whole, yes, I believe this tale, if not all. Flemeth tells it with far more embellishment than I, but you are welcome. Dare I ask of your own mother? Few are abominations of legend, 'tis true, but I find myself curious nevertheless.
And thus I create my own backstory.
Ah, then you have my sympathies for what it is worth. Which is very little, I am certain. It matters not. Let us move on.
Ooh, +5. Big numbers. Save.
What do you wish of me? If you must. Why do you ask me such questions? I do not probe you for pointless information, do I?
Well, you can.
Pardon then while I jump for joy. What is it you asked if I grew up in the wilds? A curious question. Where else would you picture me? For many years
Could be
it was
anywhere.
simply Flemeth and I. The wilds and its creatures were more real to me than Flemeth's tales of the world of man. In time, I grew curious. I left the wilds to explore what lay beyond, never for long. Brief forays into a civilized wilderness. For the most part, Flemeth taught me well. For all that I had been taught, however, the truth of the civilized lands proved to be overwhelming. I was unfamiliar with so much. So confident and bold was I, yet there was much that Flemeth could never have prepared me for. Equal parts daring and foolhardy, perhaps. Only once was I accused of being a witch of the wilds, and that by a chastened who happened to be traveling with a merchant caravan. He pointed and gasped and began shouting in his strange language, and most assumed he was casting some curse upon me. I acted the terrified girl, and naturally, he was arrested.
Nice.
Men are always willing to believe two things about a woman. One, that she is weak, and two, that she finds him attractive. I played the weakling and battered my eyelashes at the captain of the guard. Child's play. The point being that I was able to move through human lands fairly easily. Whatever humans think a witch of the wild looks like, 'tis not I. Not that I did not have trouble. There are things about human society which have always puzzled me, such as the touching. Why all the touching for a simple greeting? To begin with, yes. What is the point of touching my hand? I find it an offensive intrusion. There were many nuances that Flemeth could never tell me of. When to look into another's eyes. How to eat at a table. How to bargain without offending. None of these things I knew. I still do not understand it all, truth be told, but then I gave up long ago any hope of doing so. When I returned to the wilds last, I swore to Flemeth that I had no intention of leaving again.
Well, I mean, she can go back if she
I
wants.
have no qualm with the mission I have been set to. Flemeth was correct, like it or not. The Darkspawn are an enemy of all. Well, let's get on with it before the ground opens up and swallows us, yes?
Yay! More points. I'm gonna have to do that with all of them, aren't I? Fuck. Well, let's go back and try talking to Alistair
What do
some
you
more.
need? Ask away. Essentially, they're trained to fight. Chantry.
Gotta get those rep
Templars
points.
exist simply to defend. But don't let them fool you. They're an army. The other main purpose for a Templar is, of course, to hunt mages. To that end, we train in talents that drain mana and disrupt spells. Perhaps, but there usually isn't much of an opportunity. The Chantry keeps a close rein on its Templars. We are given lyrium to help develop our magical talents, you see. Which means we become addicted. And since the Chantry controls the lyrium trade with the dwarves, well, I'm sure you can put two and two together.
But does that mean he's
Thankfully, no.
still?
You only start receiving lyrium once you've taken your vows. You don't need lyrium in order to learn the Templar talents. Lyrium just makes Templars' talents more effective. Or so I was told. Maybe it doesn't even do that. The Chantry usually doesn't let their Templars get away either, so they can spread their secrets. I'm a bit of an exception. Lucky me.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Ask away. Such as they are.
Oh boy, there's a lot here.
That's a good question. There's plenty in Orlais, but who knows where they might be found. And the nearest Orlesian city is weeks away. If we go north and cross the sea, there's bound to be some in the Free Marches. Again, however, I just don't know where. I don't know anything about Grey Wardens in other lands. Here in Ferelden, there's our compound in Denerim at the palace, but that's it. Loghain will have control over that and be watching it, no doubt. Beyond that, the only place I know of is Weishaupt Fortress. That's the headquarters of all Grey Wardens in the Anderveld, 1,000 miles from here. But I've no idea how to even contact them. So unless we try to get back to the compound in Denerim, I suppose the answer is no. There's nowhere for us to go.
Well, shit.
I mean, eventually we would have to use the joining to make more Grey Wardens, right? But I don't know how to do the joining, or what's involved. I know it involves lyrium, and and some other magic and that it's really difficult to prepare, but that's it. Unless we can find out more about the joining, I guess we better get used to the idea that there might only be 2 of us for now. Until more come from elsewhere.
Well, that sucks. Well, that'd be pretty bad, wouldn't it? What happens? There's just 2 of us? Nah, no more questions.
About the... What do you need?
Whoops.
What do you need? Ask away.
Yes, let's go with
Well,
that.
you did. You drink some blood, you choke on it, and pass out. You haven't forgotten already, have you? Let's see. I was in the Chantry before. I trained for many years to become a Templar, in fact. That's where I learned most of my skills. You're telling me I was banished to the kitchens to scour the pots more times than I can count. And that's a lot. I can count pretty high. The Grand Cleric didn't want to let me go. Duncan was forced to conscript me, actually, and was she ever furious when he did. I thought she was going to have us both arrested. I was lucky. Oh, I suppose the Chantry life is good enough for some. Here, we have the chance to fight against the Blight. To actually do some good instead of sitting in a temple somewhere. I'll always be thankful to Duncan for recruiting me. If it hadn't been for him, you know, I wouldn't have.
He was good.
He was. A good man who didn't deserve his fate. That much I'm sure of. Come on, let's go.
Well, from the cutscene, at least he went down like a beast. Yay! +1. Might as well talk to Liliana again.
Well,
If she has anything else.
quiet. It was a life suited for contemplation. In the cloister, away from the fuss and the flurry of the cities,
I'm gonna have to look up a
and in that stillness, I could
guide
hear the
for
Maker.
gifts.
But it was not perfect. Some of my Chantry fellows were condescending. That is the nature of religious folk, I suppose.
How
When I
so?
talked about my beliefs, that the Maker reveals himself in the beauty of his world, they treated me with disdain. They want to believe that he's gone, so that when he turns his gaze on them, it means they are special, chosen. He cannot possibly have love for all, the sick and the weary, the beggars and the fools. What can I say to them? What they believe is what the Chantry says, and the Chantry is infallible, yes? Maybe I am wrong. But it is the Maker's place to decide if I am worthy, not men, not the Chantry. But there is work to be done, and I have talked enough for now.
I thought that was more for Liliana.
Yes? Well, here
Well,
we
there's
go.
only one thing left to talk
What is
about.
meant by someone like me.
Pretty sure.
Did you think I was always a cloistered sister? The Chantry provides succor and safe harbor to all who seek it. I chose to stay and become affirmed.
Affirmed?
We affirm our belief in the Maker, in Andraste and the Chant, but other than that, there are no vows taken. I was a traveling minstrel in all age.
Oh, that's right. Wasn't she like
Songs were
an
my life.
assassin or
I
something?
performed, and they rewarded me with applause and coin. And my skill in battle? Well, you pick up different skills when you travel, yes? Yes, of course. Let's move on.
Codex entry. I think she was like an bard assassin or something. I don't fully remember, but I think that's what she was. Okay, I'm gonna stop there. This is literally just Mass Effect, talk to everyone on the Normandy, then proceed kind of moment. I don't know how often this will come up, but yeah, later.